Kelly's court is back in session. On the docket today, fists flying in a traffic stop that looked more like a title fight. Roll it.
Let's stop this. I'm going to need you to step out of the car, sir. I asked you to step out of the car. No, step out of the car. Step out of the car now, or I will have you out of the car.
I mean, but you got to give me a reason.
Step out of the car now.
You yelling, but you got to give me a reason.
Step out of the car. Step out of the car.
I'm trying to get out. I can't get out.
Step out of the car.
My leg is... Step out of the car. My leg is stuck on the damn wheel. I can't. I'm trying to get out.
Get out of the car.
And it goes on from there. Corporal Stephen Jackson unloading on 24-year-old Sean Leak. Prosecutors have now dropped their case against Sean Leak, the guy who was driving that car, who faced multiple charges after that. Instead, they are now considering a prosecution of this officer for using excessive force. But the police department is standing behind Corporal Jackson, saying the suspect was clearly resisting arrest. And there's more to the tape that may vindicate this officer. So, are charges against him, the cop, really appropriate here? Let's ask our panel. Defense attorney Mark Eiglarsh and Fox News legal analyst Mercedes Coleman. Morning, panel.
Morning, Megan.
Morning.
All right, so this cop is in a lot of trouble now. The DA has dropped the charges against the guy driving the car, and now the only question is whether the cop is going to be charged. He's in a whole lot of trouble. His department is standing behind him. Mark, is the department doing the right thing?
I don't think so. And I'm not necessarily saying that for sure he needs to be stripped of his liberty and arrested. But administratively, I think they need to look at this tape and see how this could have been avoided. Let me just first say, I am not defending the driver's behavior prior to exiting the vehicle. I think he could write a book on how not to behave on the street. Tint your windows real dark and make sure there's a bullseye and give the cop a reason to pull you over. Secondly, when the cop asks about your address, don't give him difficulty. And third, and most significantly, when a cop says get out of the vehicle 6 times, he should have gotten out of the vehicle. But when he gets out of the vehicle, here's what I take exception to. He then gets out of the vehicle, but cop Jackson starts slugging right away. There's no indication on that video that the driver offered to do violence to him, and that's where I think the cop acted inappropriately.
All right, and Mark Legend, our director, if you could cue back up the tape you just played, because that's exactly where this thing goes south, if it goes south at all, Mercedes. Mark raises a good point. I mean, this guy should have gotten out of the car. Here's where it is. He pulls him out. Look at that. Bam! As soon as he gets him out, the cop lets the fist start flying. Mercedes, how do you defend that?
I mean, certainly, I think it was all set up with when he started ordering him to get out of the car. And first of all, the FBI has said the most dangerous part of the cop's job are these routine stops. And that's what heightens everything here, Megan. I mean, this is a very volatile situation. Many of these situations we've seen where cops have either gotten injured or killed, and that's empirically shown. So that's number one. So there's this heightened awareness that the cop already understands this might be a dangerous situation. He goes in, he orders him repeatedly to get out of that car, and that driver refuses to do so. When he gets out, he's super close to that officer. We're talking about split seconds here, and that driver is what, 6, 7, 8 inches taller than the police officer, and already the police officer is reasonably concerned about what may transpire, because many of these routine stops, the drivers can reach out for the weapon.
But how does that justify the punching? How does that justify the punching?
I think there has to be some level of submission, because already the driver has shown that he's not going to go.
Mercedes.
He's not going to. Hey, Mark, you know what? We're not there. We don't have these bulletproof vests on. We don't have these uniforms.
You're right.
We're not targeted. And these are split-second decisions. And we already know.
And I have,
during their training.
And I have tremendous respect for what the police do out there. I would never want that job. They are heroes, in my opinion, on numerous occasions. Megan asked a simple question. How do you justify punching a man who doesn't offer to do violence? And under your law, anyone who then gets out of the vehicle, if they act inappropriately, because I'm suggesting the driver acted inappropriately, but he gets out of the vehicle, and at no time does the video indicate that he offered to do violence to the police officer. Under your law, the cop can start swinging.
Let me just jump in here, because adding insult to injury, if you will, the cop then wrote up a report. You watch it. And this is how the cop described the incident. Before the video got released, he said, the suspect immediately took a combative stance and struck me with a closed fist uppercut to my face. Now, Mercedes,
I mean, that's perjury.
back,
that's
but
just
you know
not
what,
true.
Perjury.
That's just not true.
But look at what I just watched the driver get out of the car. He's already standing with legs apart. He's rising up, and you know, like I said, these are split-second decisions. This officer may have said,
how's he supposed to stand? The guy just got pulled. Listen, I'm no fan of these criminals who resist arrest, which according to the cops, this guy is. But how's he supposed to stand? The cop yanks him out of the driver's side. He's probably not, you know, in complete control of his body at that point. He did not take an uppercut at the cop. The cop hit him first.
I'm looking at the video right now. It looks like he's already, the driver's pulling it, it's coming out now. He's extremely close to the officer. The officer's obviously concerned because he's already gotten quite a bit of back and forth with that driver. Now he's got to pull him out because he's not going to cooperate. I mean, there's certainly something to be said about that driver's conduct that heightened the concern that officer had. If this driver had said, "Oh, you're right, officer, let me get out," not, "Oh, what, you got giving him lip?" I'm sorry, there was something that the officer
How
definitely
about that,
felt
Mark?
that
I
was
mean, are we all?
concerned.
I know we're paying lip service to the fear that cops go through when they pull over suspects, but are we really giving short shrift to the officer and the fear that may have been going through his mind when this guy he refused to get out of the car? And by the way, the courts have held the officer has every right to tell you to get out of the car, and he doesn't have to give you a reason, like this guy was insisting the cop do.
No question, this driver acted, I started off my argument, he acted completely inappropriately. The cop actually was very mild-mannered. His demeanor was excellent. The issue, and it's the sole issue here, is not that he had of course he had a heightened concern. This guy was acting inappropriately. The question is, why does he start slugging when there's no weapons, when there's no offering to do violence, and why does he manufacture police reports alleging that he had an uppercut?
So what are you saying, Mark, that let the
his
cop get shot
supervisor
first? Is that what you're saying? Because that's what you're suggesting. Forget the fact that your sirens are going off in your head, officer. Let it go, and if you get shot, well, too bad. I mean, that's what you're suggesting,
Well, his
Mark.
supervisor later said that, look, when you write up a violent incident, sometimes you use your best recollection, sometimes you don't get it exactly right. That was the explanation. And by the way, I should point out, the officer suffered a split lip that required several stitches, so he did get hit by this suspect. It happened off camera, apparently. Got to go, guys. Thank you so much. One final word for our viewers. This cop got violent immediately upon pulling this guy out of the car. Then he wrote a report that claimed the guy was the one who took a combative stance. That's just not clear, according to this tape. That is a stretch, to put it mildly. Keep an open mind on this investigation plays out, but I agree it doesn't look good for the officer here.